Shout out to G-Man Boxing. Where's the piss bottle? It's over there.
Alright, people. Review of the week time. So, where do we start with all of this? Obviously, I want to talk about Teofimo Lopez fight that happened last night. But I want to start with this, right? So, obviously, yesterday we got the announcement. Yesterday afternoon that Tyson Fury has vacated the Ring Magazine title. So, that kind of led a bit of credence to the theory that this retirement is actually legit. And at the time, they hadn't made an announcement, but it's since come out that Alexander Usyk and Joshua, that will be on the line. So they are 1 and 2. So the winner of that not only will be unified champion, but they'll get the Ring Magazine title as well. It doesn't really come with anything, as a bit of prestige to it, but it's quite a nice title, to be fair. So they'll get that. But interestingly, Sullivan has declared that they've given Tyson Fury 2 weeks until August the 26th to confirm his decision about retirement in writing as a final decision. If he does, then they said they will address the situation with the WBC title. So they've not said they'll not said they'll make it vacant. They just said they'll address the situation. I would imagine that if this retirement is legit, or maybe Tyson Fury is waiting to see it out, potentially, that more than likely what will happen is that they will make Tyson Fury the champion in recess, or champion emeritus, as they like to call it. I think they give the emeritus title to the champion if he retired, and I think they call you champion in recess is if you are injured, or if you move up in weight and just for a once-off fight and stuff like that. So that would mean, let's have a look-see at the rankings. So the WBC, I'm just assuming here, WBC rankings heavyweight, that normally is the case. Now let's have a little look-see at the WBC rankings. I'm pretty sure Deontay Wilder is number 1, so he'll get an automatic crack at it. Where are we? WBO, IBF. Here we are, WBC. Okay, so number 1 and 2 are Deontay Wilder and Joe Joyce. Right? Now I've heard a few rumours that the Deontay Wilder-Robert Helenius fight is a final eliminator. Now, Robert Helenius is ranked number 10 by the WBC. Okay? So some might ask, how could that be a final eliminator if Wilder is number 1 ranked and Robert Helenius is number 10 ranked? Well, the WBC are very bizarre in their ways. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I seem to remember 2017, I think it was, Dominic Brazil fought Eric Molina, and that was on the undercard. I think it was on the undercard of Wilder Stavern 2. Right? Now, Brazil was highly ranked by WBC after beating Izzy Wagono. Molina hadn't really done anything. In fact, I think that was his first, it might have even been his first fight since the AJ loss. Or if he did, he fought some journeyman. But that was a final eliminator. However, if memory serves me right, it was a final eliminator for Brazil only. So if Molina won, he wouldn't get a crack at Deontay Wilder. I think it would just go to the next man, who I think at the time was Dillian Whyte. So the WBC are very weird in how they do things. Now, I wouldn't imagine they'd go this far, but it wouldn't surprise me, truth be told, if they ordered, let's say, right, they made the title vacant. Maybe they know themselves they couldn't get away with making Deontay Wilder champion if he fights Robert Helenius. You know, that sort of way. Like, it's one thing to make it mandatory, but to put a vacant title in there for that would make no. So maybe they'll look at matching the winner of Wilder Helenius with the winner of Ortiz versus Ruiz. All PBC fighters, remember. The WBC and Al Heyman seem to have a nice little close relationship. So watch the space with the WBC. Watch the space now with the WBC. Fury, I really don't know. So he's saying he's retired, but I mean that when he says it, it's just like, I don't know. Until we get kind of an announcement from all parties and the WBC actually take action with the WBC title, then I'll believe it. Because at the end of the day, vacating the Ring magazine belt, okay, fair enough. But like, he's still champion with the WBC until they get rid of that one. That's the one where you can get mandatories. Until he gets rid of that or they address that situation, I'm not buying the retirement angle. Truth be told, I'm not buying the retirement angle at all. Now, Alexander Usyk, this was announced today, versus Joshua will be shown live on the Zone in the US plus 190 territories worldwide next Saturday. As it stands, we'll do a live watch along for AJ Usyk unless something comes up, and it would have to be pretty big for me to miss that. I'm not talking about just small things. It would have to be pretty big to get me to miss AJ Usyk. But unless something big comes up, we're watching AJ Usyk live. They haven't announced the times that both guys are walking to the ring at, because I know when AJ fought Ruiz, I think now everything was kind of over and done with by about 9 o'clock, half 9. It was pretty early because they're ahead by a couple of hours. So they might do that. There might be something like that where, and people in America who are watching, it might be midday in America in some states. Maybe kind of more on the western part of America. It could be as early as midday. I mean, not probably wouldn't. Maybe it would be actually. So we could get an earlier start over here and in the US than we're used to seeing. So I'll be waiting to see what the story is there, just purely with them and what the actual ring time is. So obviously this week is Joshua Usyk Joshua, whatever way you want to say it. I can't wait. But before we get into some more talk about Joshua Usyk, Teofimo Lopez made his return to the ring last night against Pedro Campos. I did watch it. I actually thought Lopez looked okay. I thought that there was definitely, it seems like he's got his little bit of mojo back. Now obviously maybe the weight cut is nowhere near as extreme going to 140, but he seemed comfy in there. He seemed definitely a lot better than I'd previously seen him. So Teofimo Lopez has already announced that his next fight is going to be on the 12th of December in MSG. So he's going back to the place where everything unravelled, basically, because that was where he lost to Kambosos. And obviously that will be, well, I know he's not going to go back to lightweight, but I know that's going to be after Kambosos Haney, so maybe he'll do a call out and maybe try and get one of them to come up, who knows. So he's at 140. Josh Taylor, will have probably already fought Jack Catterall, so Jack Catterall, Josh Taylor, the winner of that, we'll wait and see. On the undercard, Xander Zayas, again, 14-0 with 10 KOs. He's only 19 years old. I think he turned pro when he was 17. Turned pro in 2019. And I think Xander Zayas has been, I mean, the kid is 19 years old. And he is tremendously impressive. Honestly, like, I've been very impressed with what I've been seeing from him. He's only 19 years old. Think of what he's going to be like 24, 25. Just think what he's going to be like 24, 25. He is going to look tremendous. He is going to look absolutely tremendous. The WBA have now stripped Juan Francisco Estrada of his WBA super flyweight world title because he's actually going to face Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez in a trilogy fight in December rather than defend against Joshua Franco. Franco has now been upgraded to full champion. We want to see the Chocolatito trilogy. We're meant to see it this year. It didn't happen. Or at the start of this year, it didn't happen. We want to see the Chocolatito trilogy. I'm looking forward to that fight. In terms of other fights that are going to be announced, it looks likely now we're going to get an announcement soon that Leo Santa Cruz is going to take on Lee Wood. It's agreed to take place for the WBA featherweight world titles, and Perth's bids have now been cancelled. Again, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there and where that fight will take place. You know, I'm intrigued, really, to see just where that's going to take place. Is Leo Santa Cruz going to come to the UK, or is Lee Wood going to have to travel to the US? I mean, Santa Cruz hasn't fought a featherweight since, I think, 2018, 2019. It's been a while. And I don't think he's got much left after the loss to Tank Davis nearly 2 years ago now. I don't reckon he's got that much left. But we'll wait and see. I mean, how much does Lee Wood have left? Because at the end of the day, against Michael Conlan, that was a really, really, really tough fight. You know, we have the memory of him knocking Conlan out of the ring, and it was a great knockout. It was a tremendous fight, one of the best fights of the year. But lest we forget, he was dropped heavily in the first round, hit his head off the canvas, and he had a very hard fight in there against Mick Conlan. So you got to wonder, what does Lee Wood have left after that fight? Like, a fight like that could actually age you overnight. So it'll be interesting to see. I do think the coming down in weight may hinder Leo Santa Cruz, may hinder him slightly. The IBF have now ordered Josh Taylor to defend his IBF super lightweight world title against Jermaine Ponce next. Set purse bid for August 23rd. So if he wants to have a fight with Jack Catterall, he'll have to vacate that title, and that means he will literally be left with the WBO. Imagine going into the rematch, and that's the one that Catterall was mandatory with, WBO. Imagine, like, I know obviously undisputed, you're not going to stay undisputed for long, but like, imagine Jack Catterall, right? He should have won back in February, and he got robbed. He would have been undisputed champion. Granted, he wouldn't have been undisputed champion for long, and what I mean by that is eventually he would have had to vacate the titles because of mandatories. But his name would have went down for that. Now, if he beats Josh Taylor in this rematch, just one title, I'm sure for him that will mean the world to him. But like, it's sad to see Jack, because that moment was taken away from him. That moment was taken away from him through no fault of his own, through three absolute incompetent idiots at ringside who hadn't a clue what they were watching. That's the only way you can describe it. Just three incompetent idiots at ringside. Really is really sad. So hopefully we get to see this fight. But truth be told, I think Josh Taylor, if he improves, if he reassesses his game, he probably will beat Jack Catterall. Now, there was a lot of talk here about Callum Johnson versus Joshua Buatsi. Frank Warren was saying that they won the purse bid for that title fight, for the EBU title fight, but Eddie Hearn stated that they don't want that fight. Not that they're afraid of Callum Johnson, but they don't want Joshua Buatsi. They think they're above that. They're trying to get the world title shot against Dimitri Bivol. And, Eddie Hearn, he had a bit of a bad week this week with the Bivol situation, because the WBA are now insisting that Dimitri Bivol must defend his WBA lightweight or light heavyweight world title against Gilberto Ramirez next. So he won't get the voluntary against Joshua Buatsi. Now, I'm sure Zuru can just take the step aside money if it is offered. I don't see why he wouldn't. Maybe Eddie Hearn is probably looking at all the avenues, and I was watching Hatman's video on this, and he says maybe he feels it's better for Buatsi to lose on points to Bivol than to maybe go in there, take a risk against Jan Pascal, struggle through, or maybe potentially lose, or go in there against Beterbiev and get ironed out. And I agree, he probably won't get stopped by Bivol, but he probably won't be. I wouldn't be picking him to beat Bivol, that's for sure. So maybe that's what Eddie Hearn is looking at. And again, the Callum Johnson fight, Buatsi had beat Callum Johnson pretty damn easy. Callum Johnson's done, lads. He is finished. I don't even know if he can get through a training camp anymore. He's finished. So, again, if he went in there with Johnson, I'd be like, for God's sake. I mean, like, Craig Richards would beat Callum Johnson, in my opinion now. Johnson's done. Dillian Whyte was actually stated this week where he says he's ready for war again. Had enough of this civilized, chill family guy BS. I want to effing war again. I take that to mean he's coming back. So that's interesting. So Dillian Whyte coming back. Now he has options. He does. I spoke about this before. He has options to come back too. There's the Zone. There's probably a Chisora fight. The Sky one. Now that's an interesting one. That seems like now that Parker is fighting Joyce, I'm kind of looking at Sky thinking, well, who would he fight? Hughie Fury? Really? I mean, maybe, but Hughie Fury, funny enough, was offered Dillian Whyte many years ago, and he turned that down, stating that they were very close with Dillian Whyte, and you can actually go back, and that was what Peter Fury said. They were very close with Dillian Whyte. So, I don't know, has that changed? I mean, obviously Peter and Tyson, their relationship isn't what it used to be, but would they still be close with Dillian? Maybe you think of the Sky one is gone. Now, goddamn fly flying around me. Boxer, well, obviously Joe Parker is fighting Joe Joyce. So those two names are gone. What about Daniel Dubois? It's a name. Frank Warren probably put that on pay-per-view. It's somewhat of a world title, I guess. I mean, where else is Dillian Whyte going to get a world title shot nowadays? So you could potentially do that. You've got the Zone, Derek Chisora 3, or Joshua rematch if he takes an L against Alexander Usyk. So I would say, just judging by the options that are in front of me, if I was managing Dillian Whyte, I'd be like, probably the zone looks the best bet. Probably going to give you the most money. And I mean, I'm struggling to see the opportunities at Sky. BT, they will be doing everything to make sure Dubois wins. I mean, with the zone, you probably have a bit more better chance of it being a bit more neutral. Sort of way. Certainly for Chisora, with AJ probably not, but with Chisora, yeah, probably would. Now here's an interesting one. Chris Eubank Jr. revealed to TalkSport, right, that, where was it? I actually was reading the wrong one. Yeah, £157. It's a weight I've not fought at. It's a weight I've not been at since I was about 18. It's going to be painful in the sense I will be at a disadvantage because he's going to be fully hydrated, whereas I will be drained. But there has to be give and take. Now that's interesting. So I checked Chris Eubank Jr.'s weight throughout his career. Obviously he's cutting weight. The lightest he's ever weighed in a professional ring, the lightest ever weighed at a weigh-in is 158.25 pounds. So he's a pound and a quarter above. That was in 2014, just before he fought Saunders. So he's to lose another pound and a quarter. I heard Hatman say that the rehydration clause, which is in place for this fight, and I hate rehydration clauses, is actually less than the IBF's. Now the IBF's is a flat 10 pound rehydration clause. Jesus, I mean, like, what? You're talking 164 pounds, maybe? Now I know Eubank Jr. has posted images. I remember when he was up at super middleweight, there was a few times where he posted clips of himself in camp for fight, standing on a weighing scale and weighing 170 pounds. Now that's with a couple of weeks to go before fight night. Bear in mind, super middleweight limit is 168 pounds. So if he's weighing in around 170-ish pounds walk around, it would still be not good for Chris Eubank Jr. I mean, I don't like rehydration clauses personally. I think that catch weights for non-title fights I don't mind, but rehydration clauses, nah, man, that to me needs to be done away with. I just don't like it. I really don't like the rehydration clause. And if this is a really painful one, like we'll say 7-8 pounds, I mean, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem for Chris Eubank Jr. I kind of did wonder why he was saying it, though. A part of me feels, just judging by, I seen the press conference, and a part of me felt as though Eubank was looking at Conor Benn almost in a sense of, this is going to be like taking candy from a baby. That's kind of how I saw him look at Conor Benn. Like, this is it's going to be candy from a baby. And if you're trying to sell this fight, to us, the hardcores looking at it, we're looking at this like, what the hell? Like, Conor Benn, not a particularly big welterweight, fighting Eubank Jr. at middleweight. Maybe other casuals will look at it maybe similar, right? So maybe for Eubank to come out and say, well, I'll be at a big disadvantage, I'm going to be dehydrated as hell. Because normally you would expect a fighter to say the opposite. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., when he was fighting Canelo at 164.5 pounds, bear in mind how big Chavez Jr. is and how big he was at middleweight 10 years ago. That was in 2017. He'd been fighting up at light heavyweight, right? So he was going down to 164.5 pounds. And I remember one of the interviews leading up to the fight, he said, you know something, I could probably still do middleweight. And I laughed because I was like, you're talking absolute BS. And he looked terrible on the scales. And then after the fight, he was like, yeah, I was dead, couldn't do the weight, don't know why I agreed to it, like, etc, etc. It was just, I think he said he didn't eat for like 10 days, right? But obviously he wasn't going to say that going into the fight because he wanted people to think this is a competitive fight. Now, we all knew it wasn't, but he wanted people to think it was competitive. Maybe Eubank is doing it, but in the opposite. Maybe he thinks himself, this is like taking candy from a baby, but people are going to need to buy it. So they need to think that, oh yeah, Eubank is the bigger guy, but he's going to be at a serious, he even said it himself, he's disadvantaged. Conor Benn has a chance, lads. Conor Benn will be fully hydrated. Eubank's going to be disadvantaged. He even said it himself. So maybe they're trying to, I don't know, build it in that sense by making people think, yeah, Eubank he's going to be finished at the weight, and Conor Benn he's going to walk right through him. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't intrigued by it in a weird way, but more than nostalgia, to be honest with you. Of course I'm going to watch it. I have tickets booked to London to fly over. Hopefully I can cover the fight. But yeah, it's an interesting one. In terms of the remainder of the news, obviously, people, we know this coming week it's AJ Usyk. I think I said it at the start of this video. We're doing a live watch along unless something big comes up. What do we think? I gave my prediction video today technically, and I picked AJ to win a controversial points decision. I don't know what way that's gone because I haven't read. I literally just finished premiering it, so I don't know what way that's gone with the comments. But that is literally how I'm feeling. What are we saying? People saying, nah, G man, Usyk, AJ for the win, Usyk. Yes, it's a bit kind of half and half. Now I'm going, as I said, I just think the politics are going to be, I think the boxing politics is going to favour AJ. And unless Usyk goes in there and looks for a knockout, I don't mean, when I say look for a knockout, I mean trying to obviously set it up. If the opportunity comes, it comes, and you put your foot in the gas if you get the opportunity. You don't do a Klitschko and let him off the hook. You end up getting knocked out in the 11th. I think that on paper Usyk should win this fight. It's just, if AJ survives and he's not taking an absolute pasting, I can easily see a scenario where they give it to him. I mean, that Howard Foster scorecard, I've said it once, I'll say it again. He tried to rob Anthony Joshua first time around. He tried to rob he tried to rob Alexander Usyk first time around. He tried to flip and rob him. There's no ifs or buts. He tried to rob him. I don't think he's refereeing or judging this fight, but if there's a judge like that, I'd be worried. I'd be worried about it. And I just worry about the politics getting involved, the zone, all that kind of stuff. So, look, it's going to be a great fight, though. I do think we're going to see drama. I think it's going to be an entertaining fight. I'm looking forward to it. As I said, watch along. I mean, Sky, the production that they've done for this fight has been dire. The promotion has been virtually non-existent. I watched a couple of the games yesterday. I was barely seeing any promotion for the fight. It's like they're just kind of like, it's almost like they just did it and be like, ha ha ha, we've got your last fight, now we're not going to promote it. It's almost kind of like that. So, look, we'll see. I can't wait to watch it personally, but I feel as though, like, Eddie, I've done more promotion on this fight than Sky have. I've actually done a documentary on this fight. Thank you very much. Unlike Sky. Just saying. But no, honestly, looking forward to this fight tremendously. Can't wait. As I said, just want to know what times they are, ring walk times, and so I can get an idea of what time to start it live if we do one. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm hoping they get a guest on this week, and I'm probably not going to have as much out this week. Probably just to review of the week, a guest, midweek report, and if any news comes up. Because believe me, I think I've done a video every day for the last 10 days, and I actually you do get a bit tired doing that after a while, making the video, and it does kind of take it out of you after a while. So I've been going for actually probably longer than that actually. So we'll just do the normal this week, guest on Tuesday hopefully, midweek report on Wednesday, and maybe a final thoughts on Friday. Who knows? We'll see. For now, I'll talk to these people. Oh, I was going to say, before I finish, smash the like button, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. How could I forget to say that? But in reality, if you could do that, it would really be appreciated. Obviously, we're doing very well. We're nearly at 9k, and then we're into the hundreds until we get to 10. So it's crazy times, and yeah. And obviously this goes out Monday morning as it always does. I know people comment and say they listen to it going to work, which I love hearing. It's brilliant to hear that, and that people like it, and it obviously means a lot to me. Saying that, it's nice to see. And hopefully this week, for some if not all, we have a good week. We all have a good week. Some of us get some good news. Hopefully everyone gets some good news, and everyone has a good, safe week, and we're all happy. For now, I'll leave you with that, people. I hope you all have a great week, great day, etc. Best of luck to everyone. Peace.